Hi, I'm Kristen Amdahl with Red Heart Yarns. In today's knit video, we're going to talk about some of the tips and tricks for making the day-to-date time shawl. This is a project that's made in one piece. We have a lace stitch pattern, and we also have an edging work simultaneously with the lace stitch pattern, so it's all made in one piece. And I just have some few special stitches to show you in order to do that. There's a few special areas to watch on the pattern. There is the special stitches section, which will show you some of the specialty stitches. This one calls for an SKP, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the other section that's important on this pattern is the abbreviation section. The reason being, there are two abbreviations that are not exactly commonplace, and that's the TBL through the back loop and the WYIF with yarn in front. And let me show you what those are. Let's get started. All right, I've already started the shawl. I've done the garter stitch, I've done the cast on and 4 rows in garter stitch, which is what begins our border. I'm doing a garter stitch, which is knit every row at the beginning of and end of each row to continue on with the border with the lace stitch patterning between. And in order to keep a nice, beautiful edge on the edge of the garter stitch border, we start every row with a slip stitch with yarn in front, that WYIF. And you do that where you're going to slip as if to purl with the yarn in front, like this. And then you move your yarn to the back to knit the rest of the stitches. So it's a 5-stitch repeat for the edge, so it's a slip 1 purlwise with yarn in front, then move the yarn to the back and knit the remaining 4. I have a stitch marker placed at the beginning and end of each row, marking off those border selvage areas. And then I also have a stitch marker marking off the repeats of the lace stitch pattern, which is an 11-stitch repeat. I've already done the first few rows of the stitch pattern. So on the wrong side rows, it's purl across the lace portions, and then on the right side row, it's a different sequence of knits, yarn overs, and SKPs. I'm starting row 7 right now, so I slipped the first stitch as if to purl with the yarn in front, knit the first 4, and then the asterisk starts. And the asterisk means that's the beginning of our repeat of the lace pattern. So for row 7, it starts with a knit 6, and then we're going to yarn over SKP. And what that means is we're going to yarn over to the front. SKP is slip 1, knit 1, and then pass the slip stitch over. And then the remaining of this repeat is knit 3. And then it says to repeat from the asterisk, which is our repeat. So we're going to slip the next stitch marker, and we're going to repeat from the asterisk. So that was a knit 6, and then we're going to do our yarn over SKP, which is a yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, and pass the slip stitch over. Then the remainder of the repeat is to knit 3. Okay, the pattern says to repeat from the asterisk until you get to the last few stitches. So let's repeat that stitch pattern for each of the remaining lace sections, and then there's something special I want to show you at the very end of this row. Okay, so we've repeated from the asterisk across the row to the last 7 stitches, and for the last 7 stitches we're going to knit the first 6 of them. And then on the last stitch it says to knit 1 TBL, meaning you're going to knit the last one through the back loop. So instead of through the front loop, we're going to knit it back here through the back loop. And that sets us up for doing that slip stitch on the following row. Now each of the following the wrong side rows are all going to be worked identically, and that's by beginning with that slip stitch purlwise with the yarn in front, move the yarn to the back, knit 4, and then you're going to purl across the entire row to the last 5 stitches. On the last 5 stitches, you're going to knit 4 and then knit 1 through the back loop like we just did. So all the right side rows are going to be different sequences of knit, yarn over, and SKP, slip, knit, pass, slip, stitch over, and all the wrong side rows are going to be purling, except for those special stitches to create the beautiful edge on the first and last stitch of every row. The shawl ends with 4 rows plain knitting to replicate the cast-on edge, so the whole thing is framed with our edging before we bind off loosely. The day-to-date time knit shawl pattern and many more are available on the website, so please come check it out at redheart.com.